All right, everyone, now we have to talk about the mythology that AI comes with guardrails or safeguards or even law when you really think about it. I'm here to warn you that what you're about to see over the next years is going to surprise you. You're going to find that despite tech billionaires partying with members of government to try to put a freeze on the development of AI until you can sort of constrain it, I don't think that'll work, and there's one big reason why. That's because there is more than one nation in the world. They compete with one another. And if we're not doing it, somebody else will do it. What'll end up happening if the Western world decides to slow down AI is that it'll become run by China. China will become dominant in it. China and to an extent possibly India. So if that's what you want, then yeah, you can try to close the AI Pandora's box on this side of the ocean, but it ain't going to work long term. The AI will break through. It's just that a bunch of people with even more propagandistic intent than the neoliberals sanitizing like ChatGPT and stuff like that, or GPT, sorry, they'll be the ones running it. So it'll become even more woke. Deliberately exported to the West in hyper-woke form, just like TikTok, in order to denigrate people's minds and rob them of actual intelligence. Here's the thing. The way that AI is working right now reminds me a little bit of the .com era, or the early social media era for that matter, with like MySpace and stuff. What ends up happening is that a rush of people come in, and then at some point it gets overburdened, it collapses, it overstretches itself, it's being used for too many things, it collapses, leading to the next wave of technology and then rises back up. Again, like the collapse of MySpace predicates the rise of Facebook. The .com collapse wipes out a bunch of .coms, but it leads to the massive growth of others that stayed in the game. So Yahoo is a sad memory, and AOL and all these others, but Google is huge, for example. And they branch out further, of course, and become a mega corporation, of course, under Alphabet. So Google itself is a sub-company, and a lot of people don't even know that. Crypto, great example. It's gone through several crashes. It's now rising its way back up, although it's not near its all-time highs. It appears to be doing the same thing. And this, by the way, despite a genuine effort by Western governments to put that genie back in the bottle because they're afraid of people's upward mobility. They're really afraid of is that there are still people that are holding 100,000 bitcoins right now and they don't want them gobbling up more money. I think to some extent they're worried about the inflationary impact potentially of having a digital currency that isn't centrally controlled. So on the books, technically it should be inflating things, but it's not really doing that. And they're worried that that differential may cause economic problems. That's the most benevolent of their goals, by the way, fucking with the money and maintaining their monopoly over that fuckery. With AI, I see the same thing. We're just barely scratching the surface of its capabilities. You can make interesting images, you can get effectively search results, yada yada yada. It's nowhere near as developed as it'll be probably 6 months from now, let alone several years from now. Now, some of it will end up falling by the wayside. Some AI programs certainly will disappear. Some of them, they just won't quite cut it. They'll become legacy, they'll become stagnant. Others will forge through. There's no real guardrails you can put in place though. It's entirely possible that all the source code for anything like that can just be stolen and rigged up anyway. Outside groups, a group of people could create a completely open source AI. It's not without their possibility. And with human training for it and everything. You could grassroots it if you wanted to. You could get a fundraiser going and a bunch of volunteers to create an AI program right now, and there's nothing to stop you from doing so. Putting guardrails on the internet didn't work for the .coms. It clearly didn't work for social media. Any government restraint on it is just the government using those platforms for propaganda anyway, vlogging sites, social media blogs, etc. There are always new tech alternatives. For every major .com, there's a bunch of other .coms that compete under the same general sub-banner and have similar material, and they're independently run. For every large-ass social media company vlogging site, there are alternatives now. Even if they're a day late and a dollar short, they still exist. Rumble, for example, is growing at a significant pace. It was effectively written off over and over in its infancy. Same with BitChute, etc. They're growing. They've taken off. They've probably become too big at this point to put the genie back in the bottle. Again, I think the same is true with crypto. A lot of the stupid coins they're basically worthless. They're infinitely more and more diminutive as far as their value. So you need 1 million of them to get a penny, and so clearly it's the closest thing to them being effectively dead that you can get. But then you have Bitcoin, or a few of the others. They're still stable, they're still workable, people are still interested in them, etc., etc. AI will be the same, and it will transform many things. AI is capable, with a few more tweaks and a few more years development, a person is going to be able to think about music and record it from their mind, for example. Neuralink probably will be part of this. So Elon's trying to slow it down so that he can cope with figuring out cybernetic implants to work with AI. I'm sure that that's one of the reasons. Hey, if you could give me a cyborg implant and I could put all of the cool music that I think of actually into a file and make the actual music, I would kind of appreciate that, because I don't know how to write musical notes and I'm not good with instruments, but I am good at thinking up cool songs and lyrics and things like that. It's a form of torment. I wish that I'd taken piano lessons as a kid, let's put it that way. What guardrails? Oh, we got to make sure that we constrain it to do good. You're not going to be able to. Some people use AI to do terrible things, probably. We've only scratched the surface. Some random genius is going to sit down and have a mug of coffee and think of a way to use an AI program to swindle billions from banks or something like that. It's not without the realm of possibility, but then there will be people, again, who are doing massively good things with it. They're using it to develop new treatments for cancer. They're using it to sequence genomes. They're using it to make beautiful works of art or wonderful music or whatever. That maybe they don't paint very well, but they can paint with an AI program hatched into their brain through a cybernetic antenna or something like that. Why not? Sounds cool. It also sounds like there will be problems. We've already seen this with the internet. We've seen this with every aspect of society, going back to like the Romanticist era as a direct spin-off of industrialization. Yeah, industry. Wow, we can heat our homes better. We've got light all the time, but now we can't see the night sky. And now there's something lost because, my house is already heated. Now I've got to drive out into the wilderness and to enjoy the campfire and the stars. And so life got better, but at the same time, there were inconveniences. People lose jobs and people gain jobs. Look at the whale oil industry, for example. All those whalers were put out of business once better, more efficient sources of fuel became available. But more jobs were created than lost, and things got more efficient. It'll be the same with AI. It's going to put probably millions of people out of business. It's going to destroy entire career prospects, and some of those people will fall through the cracks and end up killing themselves or going on a spree or something out of stress. There will be also backlash against it. You can expect primitivistic movements to become more common, going basically like back out in a woods because they're like, oh shit, this time it's a step too far. Barcodes were one thing, but this AI stuff is getting a little spooky. Can be a little spooky at times. There's some weird shit on there. So yeah, warnings and guardrails my ass. Don't expect it to work. That's about all. Peace out.